Wonder Woman 1984 will be hitting theaters next summer, and with it, the DC Extended Universe will be trying its hand at releasing a legitimate sequel to one of their biggest box office hits. While other upcoming DC films, like Birds of Prey, attempt to revamp some of the DCU's less praised films, the new Wonder Woman movie will bring back director Patty Jenkins and actress Gal Gadot to continue the magic of the franchise's first installment. Just don't expect a bunch of other DC superheroes to be making appearances, because 1984 will be all about Diana Prince. And beware of spoilers, because we're about to go into some detail about the DC cinematic universe.
Welcome to the future. Life is good.
Wonder Woman is the DC Extended Universe's most well-received film by both audience and critics. It jumped past its early projected $90 million earnings to make over $400 million at the box office, and it's sitting at a 93% freshness rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It hasn't aged badly either, and Wonder Woman remains a standout favorite for DC fans. The film benefits from not being bloated down by a huge cast of characters, allowing Gal Gadot to shine as Diana Prince. It's no wonder that DC has chosen this franchise as its first truly standalone series. And the sequel looks like it's going to bring back more than just Wonder Woman, with Steve Trevor somehow making a return from the dead to join Diana in the 80s. In terms of continuation, Wonder Woman 1984 is shaping up to be one of the DC's most focused films yet, and it's about time. Wonder Woman isn't the first character to have her story continued in the DC universe, but she is the first to have two movies revolve all around her. Superman's Man of Steel has follow-ups, but no true sequels. This is because Batman v Superman focuses just as much on Bruce Wayne as it does on Clark Kent. The follow-up serves to introduce their feud and then end it all within the same movie with Superman's death. It extends the DC universe, but doesn't give Superman his chance to shine before killing him off. Maybe DC chose to go this direction because Man of Steel wasn't exactly a hit. Despite drawing an audience, it was criticized for being predictable and generic, despite the star power and name recognition of the Man of Steel himself, Henry Cavill. Batman v Superman was plagued with similar but even worse reviews, with words thrown around like messy, boring, and long, which is not exactly what you want to hear about a big-budget superhero film. And Batman v Superman doesn't give Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne the chance to shine either. Sharing the screen with another big-name superhero is fun in theory, but by being so unfocused, the movie makes audiences feel like they aren't getting enough of Batman or Superman. And then came Justice League. It's better reviewed than Batman v Superman, but not by much. Well, it's a fun movie because it brings together a bunch of our favorite superheroes and introduces characters like The Flash and Cyborg into the DC Extended Universe. It suffers from being weighed down by too many characters and having a messy plot. This messy plot was likely the product of behind-the-scenes issues that resulted in director Zack Snyder being replaced by Joss Whedon late in the production process. Fans have been hoping for the Zack Snyder cut of the movie to be released after it was revealed that he had completed a lot more of the film than previously thought. But even if we are lucky enough to get an alternate version of Justice League, the movie has too many characters and too much to focus on to be a true sequel to either Man of Steel or Batman v Superman. And though Wonder Woman makes an appearance in the film, she's a supporting character, and the movie doesn't continue her story in a satisfying way. It's a shame for both DC and comic book fans that most of the DC films have received lukewarm reception. Big-name superheroes paired with big-name actors and actresses hasn't been enough to save a majority of the DC films from being mostly disliked. So far, 4 out of 7 films have received mostly low-end reviews, with Wonder Woman, Shazam, and Aquaman coming out as the top-rated films in that order. It's a far cry from the praise and reception that the Dark Knight trilogy received back in the day. And many people group these movies separately from the new additions to the extended universe. It's not the worst track record, but it has Marvel, DC's biggest and probably only competitor in the superhero genre, coming out on top. In comparison, Marvel has made bigger waves in the box office with billion-dollar earners like Avengers Endgame. But one thing DC does have going for it is a huge lineup of successful television series, which Marvel is really only starting to compete with now with the release of Disney+. From Marvel, we can expect such shows as WandaVision, What If, and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They've definitely had some Netflix hits like Jessica Jones and Daredevil, but DC has them beat with their sheer volume of television series and crossovers, including Supergirl, The Flash, Arrow, Titans, and the newly released Crisis on Infinite Earths, just to name a few. But when it comes to films, DC is undergoing a makeover, and it's just in time to put out some of their most creative projects to date. The upcoming Harley Quinn story is a great example of this. It will be released on February 5th, a few months before Wonder Woman, and will feature a cast of powerful women such as Huntress and Black Canary, which fans may remember from the comics. Perhaps Birds of Prey will be able to cash in on the female lead success of Wonder Woman, and they definitely have a proven star as a leading lady with Margot Robbie, who likely comes closest to Gal Gadot in terms of being an iconic DC actress. But Birds of Prey is also not a true sequel because it recasts and restarts the world and characters that Suicide Squad introduced. And it also won't focus solely on Harley Quinn. In fact, it's more of a spin-off or a do-over and is the most obvious attempt by DC yet to completely reinvent one of their failed films. We can't really blame them for wanting to erase Suicide Squad, as it got even worse reviews than Batman vs. Superman. It suffered from both a sloppy plot and muddled directing, and even the big-name actors and actresses attached to the movie, like Will Smith and Viola Davis, weren't enough to redeem it or even guarantee its success. But thankfully, DC did have a star among all the rest of the mess in Suicide Squad, and is sticking with Margot Robbie to reprise her role as Harley Quinn. So at least the studio knows what the fans have liked about their movies, even if they've had to make a few mistakes along the way. DC also has an entirely new Suicide Squad, slated for release in 2021, and a Batman film in development with Robert Pattinson playing Bruce Wayne after Ben Affleck stepped down for the role. So we can definitely see the effort DC is putting in to try and give fans the comic book adaptations they really want and deserve. And we think that this type of awareness will continue in future DC projects, now that audiences have been so vocal about what's been working and what hasn't. But Wonder Woman being the first official sequel in the DC Extended Universe does not mean there aren't more to come. Aquaman 2 is slated for a 2022 release, and Shazam is likely to also get a sequel after its positive reception at the box office. Neither of these franchises have undergone the almost complete revitalization that Suicide Squad has, so it looks like things are slowly looking up for the DC universe. As the studio finds its focus, it's likely that we'll get a new slate of diverse DC features that dig deeper into the origins and motivations of their superhero. But one question still remains. Will Wonder Woman 1984 be the sequel that the franchise deserves? All signs point to yes if we consider what held back the other DC films. Wonder Woman is much less burdened than films like Justice League because it doesn't have to carry the entire cinematic universe on its shoulders. It did well as a standalone in cinemas and is likely to pull another large audience. It also benefits from being the first two films chronologically in the DC universe, with the first taking place in the year 1918. This means that Diana can appear in any of the DC films that follow Wonder Woman, but all of those other superheroes are less likely to appear in her movies and weigh it down with an overdone plot and too wide of a focus. And that's just fine with DC because Gal Gadot has proven with the first film that she can carry a movie without all the added fanfare. And with Patty Jenkins returning to direct, it's unlikely that there is any behind-the-scenes drama that will keep the movie from being a well-made follow-up to the first film. The biggest draw for most audiences to go see the follow-up to Wonder Woman is the expectation that it will be just as good, or almost as good, as the first. It has some big shoes to fill, but we're pretty confident that it will at least end up somewhere near the top of the pile when it comes to well-received DC movies. And DC aside, Wonder Woman 1984 has the potential to blow another hit female lead superhero movie, Marvel's Captain Marvel, out of the water. But when it comes to expanding the representation in superhero movies, we hope that movies like Captain Marvel, Wonder Woman, and the upcoming Black Widow and Harley Quinn films continue to come to the big screen and take the box offices by storm, carving out a place for Diana and others to show us just how capable they are of saving the world or destroying it, if that's more their thing. So, do you think DC is about to breathe new life into their cinematic universe with the release of their first true sequel? If so, we have a lot to look forward to with the continuation of Wonder Woman, the return of Margot Robbie in Birds of Prey, and the casting of Robert Pattinson as the new Batman. With so many potential sequels to come, it's hard to decide what we're looking forward to most. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe to Screen Rant for more content about your favorite films.